Hello, everyone. Welcome to our podcast about learning English. Today, we have an important and exciting topic, using English for job interviews. Whether you're applying for your first job or a new position, we're here to help you feel confident and ready. I'm Emma.
And I'm Max. We know job interviews can be stressful, but don't worry. We'll guide you step by step. We'll keep everything simple so learners at any level can follow along.
Let's start by talking about why English is so important in job interviews. English is often used in international companies and for jobs in countries where English is the main language. So, learning how to speak professionally in English can really help you stand out.
That's right. The first thing to focus on is introductions. The way you introduce yourself sets the tone for the whole interview. For example, when the interviewer asks, "Can you tell me about yourself?" How would you answer, Emma?
Great question. A simple way to start is, "My name is Emma, and I'm from London. I studied business management at university, and I have 2 years of experience working as a sales assistant. I enjoy helping customers and solving problems."
That's a strong and clear answer. Notice how Emma shared her name, her background, and her experience. She also mentioned a skill, which is very important in interviews.
Yes, it's also helpful to include a hobby or something personal, so the interviewer gets to know you better. For example, you can add, "In my free time, I enjoy reading books about leadership and learning new languages."
That's a great tip. Sharing a hobby makes you seem more relatable and interesting. Now, let's talk about some common questions interviewers ask. Emma, what's a question people should prepare for?
A very common one is, "Why do you want this job, Max?" How would you answer that?
Good question. Here's an example. I want this job because I am passionate about technology and helping customers. I see that your company values innovation, and I want to be part of a team that creates amazing products.
I love that answer. It shows enthusiasm and connects your goals to the company's mission. Always remember to research the company before your interview. Look at their website, read about their values, and think about how you can contribute to their team.
Another common question is, what are your strengths? This is your chance to talk about what you're good at. For example, one of my strengths is communication. I'm very good at explaining things clearly, which helps me solve problems and work well with others.
That's a strong example. Keep your answers simple and focus on one or two key strengths. Now, what about weaknesses? Sometimes interviewers ask, "What is your biggest weakness?" This can be tricky.
It's tricky, but it's also an opportunity to show how you're improving. For example, you can say, "One of my weaknesses is that I sometimes take on too many tasks at once. However, I'm learning to prioritize and manage my time better."
Perfect. This shows self-awareness and growth, which interviewers really like. Let's also talk about how to stay calm during the interview. Max, what's your best advice?
My advice is to practice as much as you can. Practice answering questions with a friend in front of a mirror, or even record yourself. This will make you feel more confident when the real interview comes.
Absolutely. Also, don't forget to breathe. If you feel nervous, take a deep breath before answering a question. It's okay to pause and think for a moment.
And smile. Smiling makes you look confident and friendly. Even if you're nervous, a smile can help you feel more positive.
These are great tips. We've covered a lot so far: introductions, common questions, and how to stay calm. Let's keep going with more examples and advice.
Now that we've talked about introductions and common questions, let's dive deeper into other important parts of a job interview. One key area is how to talk about your past experiences and achievements.
Yes, this is where you can really impress the interviewer. Many interviewers will ask something like, "Can you tell me about a time when you solved a problem?" Or, "Can you give an example of when you worked well in a team?"
A good way to answer these questions is by using the STAR method. Emma, can you explain what that is?
Of course, STAR stands for situation, task, action, and result. It's a structure that helps you give clear and detailed answers. Let's break it down. Situation. Start by describing the context or problem. Task. Explain what your role or responsibility was. Action. Share what you did to solve the P.
That's really helpful. Let's give an example. If someone asks, "Can you tell me about a time when you solved a difficult problem?" you could answer like this. Situation. In my previous job as a customer service assistant, a customer was upset because their package was delayed. Task. My job was to.
That's an excellent answer. It's clear, professional, and shows problem-solving skills. Using the STAR method can really make your answers stand out.
Another question that often comes up is about your goals. For example, the interviewer might ask, "Where do you see yourself in 5 years?"
Right. This question helps the interviewer understand your plans and if you're a good fit for the company. Max, how would you answer this?
I'd say something like, "In 5 years, I hope to grow within the company and take on more responsibilities. I'm excited to learn and develop new skills that will help me contribute even more to the team."
That's a great answer because it shows ambition and a commitment to the company. It's also good to mention that you're eager to learn. Employers love hearing that.
Definitely, let's also talk about body language during an interview. Your words are important, but your body language can say a lot too.
Yes, for example, sitting up straight shows confidence, and making eye contact shows that you're engaged and paying attention.
Exactly, but be careful not to stare too much. It's okay to look away sometimes. And remember to nod when the interviewer is speaking. It shows that you're listening and interested.
Another tip is to keep your hands relaxed. Don't cross your arms or fidget too much. If you're not sure what to do with your hands, you can rest them on your lap or the table.
That's great advice, and don't forget to use polite language during the interview. For example, instead of saying, "What do you pay?" you can say, "Can you tell me more about the salary and benefits?"
Good point. Being polite and professional makes a big difference. You can also use phrases like, "Thank you for this opportunity," or "I appreciate your time."
Another useful tip is to ask questions at the end of the interview. Many interviewers will say, "Do you have any questions for us?" Emma, what's a good question to ask?
You could ask, "What does a typical day in this role look like?" Or "What are the main goals for the team this year?" This shows that you're interested in the job and want to understand it better.
Exactly. You can also ask about the company's culture, like, "What is the work environment like here?" This helps you learn more about whether the job is a good fit for you.
These are all great ideas. And remember, asking questions isn't just polite, it also shows confidence.
One last thing for this section, let's talk about how to handle unexpected questions. Sometimes interviewers ask things you don't expect, like, "If you were an animal, what would you be?"
Those questions can be surprising, but the key is to stay calm and think creatively. For example, you could say, "I would be a dog because I'm loyal and work well with others."
That's a clever answer. It shows personality and connects it back to your strengths. The important thing is not to panic. There's no wrong answer to questions like these.
Absolutely. So far, we've talked about past experiences, goals, body language, polite language, and handling unexpected questions. Let's keep going and explore more ways to succeed in job interviews.
Now that we've covered how to answer common questions and handle unexpected ones, let's move on to some final tips that can make a big difference in your job interview. One important area is preparing for the end of the interview. Emma, what do you think is the best way to leave a great impression?
That's a great question, Max. At the end of the interview, it's important to thank the interviewer. For example, you can say something like, "Thank you for taking the time to meet with me today. I really enjoyed learning more about the company and the role."
That's a perfect way to show appreciation. It also leaves a positive impression because it shows you're polite and professional. Another thing you can do is ask about the next steps. You could say, "Can you tell me what the next steps in the hiring process are?"
Yes, that's a very professional way to show you're interested and serious about the position. It also gives you an idea of what to expect next, like a second interview or a decision timeline.
And don't forget to leave the interview with confidence. Smile, make eye contact, and say something polite like, "It was great meeting you. I hope to hear from you soon." Small things like this really matter.
Definitely. Now let's talk about some things you should avoid during a job interview. Max, what's something that you think people should be careful about?
One big mistake is being late. Arriving late can make a bad first impression. Always plan to arrive at least 10 to 15 minutes early. This gives you time to relax and prepare.
That's so important. Another mistake is not knowing anything about the company. Make sure to do your research before the interview. Learn about their mission, products, and values so you can show you're really interested.
Exactly, and one more thing, try not to interrupt the interviewer. Always let them finish their question or comment before you start speaking. It shows respect and good communication skills.
That's a great point. Also, avoid speaking too negatively about your past jobs or employers. Even if you didn't like a previous job, it's better to say something neutral like, "I'm looking for a new challenge," instead of criticizing.
Absolutely. And remember, honesty is always the best policy. If you don't know the answer to a question, it's okay to say, "I'm not sure about that, but I'm happy to learn." Interviewers appreciate honesty and a willingness to improve.
That's true. Now let's switch gears and talk about preparation. Preparing well before the interview can help you feel more confident and less nervous. Max, what's one way people can prepare?
Practice is key. You can practice answering questions out loud, either alone or with a friend. If possible, try to simulate the interview environment by sitting at a table and dressing professionally. This will help you get used to the feeling.
That's a great idea. Another way to prepare is to review your resume and think about how your experiences match the job description. Be ready to explain how your skills can help the company succeed.
Yes, and don't forget to prepare a list of questions to ask the interviewer. As we mentioned earlier, asking questions shows interest and confidence.
Another preparation tip is to plan what to wear. Dressing professionally is very important. For most jobs, this means wearing something clean, simple, and formal, like a shirt, blazer, or dress.
That's right. Your appearance is part of the first impression, so make sure you're dressed appropriately for the role. And one more thing, bring a copy of your resume to the interview. Even if the interviewer already has it, it's good to have a backup.
Excellent tip. Let's also talk about phone or video interviews. These are becoming more common, especially for remote jobs. Max, what's a tip for doing well in a video interview?
For video interviews, make sure your background is clean and quiet. Sit in a well-lit room where your face can be seen clearly. Test your internet connection and camera before the interview starts.
And don't forget to look at the camera when you're speaking. It's like making eye contact in a face-to-face interview. Also, speak a little more clearly than usual because the sound might not be perfect.
That's a great point, and for phone interviews, smile while you're speaking. Even though they can't see you, smiling makes your voice sound friendlier and more confident.
That's such a good tip, Max. Now, before we wrap up, let's quickly review some powerful phrases that can help you sound professional in any interview.
Good idea. For expressing interest in the job, you can say, "I'm very excited about this opportunity because," or "This role aligns perfectly with my skills and goals."
To show confidence, you can use phrases like, "I'm confident that my experience will allow me to contribute to your team," or "I'm eager to bring my skills and ideas to your company."
And to show your willingness to learn, you can say, "I'm always looking for ways to grow and improve my skills," or "I'm open to feedback and excited to learn new things."
Those are excellent phrases to use. Well, we've talked about a lot today. Answering questions, body language, preparation, and even tips for video interviews.
That's right. Interviews can be challenging, but with preparation, practice, and the right attitude, you can do really well. Absolutely. You've got this. Goodbye, everyone, and see you next time.